No lag, super clear, everything looks good. That's what we want to hear, guys. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's dive into it. And as I said, guys, I did get married the other day, so that is the reason why I haven't done any videos for a few days, to have some time away from the screen. It's always good to have a break, and it was, the best day of my life. And there is no more nervous feeling than being at the front there by yourself when that music plays. And I've played a lot of sport and played in some big grand finals and captained some cricket teams to premierships, but there's no more nervous feeling than your wedding day. So, right, let's get into it. So, when we last spoke, it's funny how sentiment can change so quickly, and we've definitely had a bit of a turn in sentiment, I believe. With a number of good news projects, I'm going to whip through those quickly and then look at some of the technical analysis side of things. So just a reminder for anyone in Australia or anyone interested, the ATO is seeking feedback about the crypto tax events and the current laws, and they want feedback. And guys, I took the time, I know a number of you have already, but take the time to fill this form out and give them feedback. If you're not happy with crypto to crypto being a taxable event, tell them about how this will become a mess when Ethereum and all the smart contracts, IOTA, microtransactions, record keeping, all these issues that arise. ICO might raise $100 million in ETH. Ethereum price is now down 70%. Technically, that ICO owes the ATO $30 million, but they've only got $30 million of ETH in the bank. Okay, all these rules, in my opinion, are trying to fit a square peg through a round hole, trying to put crypto laws in place from the old, stock market, property laws. We need to create a new set of regulations. Give the ATO that feedback, guys. It's not very often they ask for community feedback, so please take the time to fill that out. That ends tomorrow. So here's an interesting chart that was tweeted today. So this is by the Element Group, and then percentage of ICOs that actually achieved their hard cap. So they said, look, we want to raise, say, $20 million. Did they actually get the amount that they wanted to raise, that hard cap? So, the highest it got to was, the low 40% here in sort of January when altcoins were red hot. And then obviously recently, 0%. So no ICOs have reached their hard cap for the past couple of weeks. And I know it's hard times. A number of projects in Australia that I help, currently some of them are in their ICOs. I know some of those ones are overseas. Even good projects we've covered on the channel are struggling to raise money. And this is why, guys. People just aren't interested anymore. People don't want to get rid of their ETH. They see it being undervalued. And obviously that's another risk, the price of ETH going up or down once you contribute, if the ICOs don't have the price locked and all that sort of thing. I think this is going to bounce back, and that's something that I want to talk about as well. So this is a historical snapshot because I believe that we are going to see a bounce back in altcoins. I believe we're going to see good ICOs start to get funded and people will be a lot more picky, and bad ICOs get regulated out. But just remember, this is from only, a little over a year ago, 1st of Jan 2017. There's only one coin with a market cap over $1 billion. And yet here we are currently, I think it's 20 odd, 23 now, over $1 billion, or unicorns as they're called in the stock market world. So look, it's going to happen. Good projects are going to come back. This was posted in our group today as well. Thanks, David, for that. But this is a chart of the number 5 to number 100 in the top 100 coins and their percentage increase. So have a look each time, these waves that occur. So, when Bitcoin's in favor, and then we had hard forks, and it swings and rounds about between altcoins, Bitcoin. And I think a lot of people sometimes, if you're new to this and you're a long-term hodler, this is where you go, I'm missing out, and you jump into one. And then by the time you jump in and finally make the decision when FOMO's at its height, that's when the momentum will swing and altcoins will have a run, and then Bitcoin will have a run. So guys, be selective, be patient. Everything happens in cycles, and that's because of human emotion. That's because of FOMO. That's why I've got cycles on my charts. Pick good coins and be patient. Sometimes when they've done nothing, that's when they're about to go. They're in a period of accumulation before the hype builds up again. So let's dive into some of the announcements and news lately. And then, guys, I'll keep an eye on questions, but I'll try and talk about that at the end. So Living Room Satoshi, a great Australian company. I think they won Best Australian Startup in 2015. I've covered them a number of times. They've adopted Lightning Network. They're just testing this out for small amounts. I think it's under $20 to start off with. But fees of 1/100 of a cent, okay, rather than paying high fees on the Bitcoin network. So it's great to see an Australian company leading the way. I mean, we saw how long it took Coinbase and Bitfinex, all these big wallets and exchanges, to adopt SegWit. So for Australia, again, I really think Australia is leading the way in terms of merchant adoption, payments. Obviously here with the Lightning Network, the technology, and trying that as well. So it's great to see Australia at the forefront of that. Well done, Living Room Satoshi. Now, this is a fantastic article about the confirmation rates in the Tangle, and a lot of people are confused, and that's very understandable. IOTA is a very early stage project, but this talks about the Tangle and the random walk theory of, you might have heard in the stock market, it has a random walk with an upwards drift. So this is talking about how confirmations of transactions will work in a Tangle with different branches branching off, and larger tangles, larger branches of the Tangle getting more confirmations, but because of random walks, smaller branches of the Tangle will still get confirmations. And again, IOTA is a very early stage project. I've invested a little bit. I've currently got a swing trade on at the moment. I might talk about that as well. But just remember, a lot of these new projects that are promising, higher transaction volumes, faster, there's always some sort of trade-off. And some of these are in very early stage where, we've got nodes that are confirming the network's okay. So very centralized to some degree. Different projects, I'm not just talking about IOTA here. A lot of these haven't scaled yet, haven't been let go in the wild, and then we start to iron out more bugs. So just remember that a lot of these projects are fantastic. The Internet of Things could be a huge use case, but slow and steady. We want to get all this bug-free. We want to make sure we understand how it works, what it is good for and what it isn't good for, before we just release this into the wild and then have hacks or bugs. So guys, it's fantastic to see this. IOTA is a fantastic project. I really recommend you read that about how the Tangle and confirmations work compared to a blockchain. So two favorite projects of mine, BAT. I covered the Brave browser by the Basic Attention token a while ago. I recently added this one to my portfolio in the low 20 cents range. But I just think for all the headlines we're seeing about privacy, metadata, Facebook, advertising and paying attention for your eyeballs is a hot topic moving forward. I think this is just such a disruptor. And in the stock market world, if we'd had all these news and fundamentals about Facebook and everything, money would be looking to go into the alternate option or the future. But I think BAT is still flying under the radar somewhat. Now, it has had a bit of a jump from 20 cents to 30 odd cents, but still off the radar. So many people aren't even aware of what this is and how it works yet. If you're watching this video and you're aware of BAT, I'd say you're very early on in the piece to that one. Now, Horizon State, they joined the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance as well. You guys know that I rated this the most underrated project in my top 10. I think the market cap of this one is still only around $20 million. So in terms of, as I said today, working product, the MyVote app, high quality team, there's so much to like about this project. Already developing real world partnerships in a number of countries, flying under the radar completely. I still haven't seen any big YouTubers or this one get hyped or talk about on the big groups on social media. So keep an eye on Horizon State doing good things there as well. Another thing I want to talk about today was the Kraken CEO. So the Kraken was an exchange that started up in New York, and then New York developed its BIT license, where you need a license to be an exchange, and they said, we'll move to another state. I think San Francisco have crypto-friendly laws and regulation. Now they've been subpoenaed or requested for information, and they've turned around and said, no, we're not going to give it to you. And this is what we're going to see happen. This is why Binance have moved to Malta. More big exchanges are going to move to these friendly jurisdictions, because they can turn around and say, no, we live in a digital age. You have no authority here. Okay, ones and zeros going through cyberspace. If you're in a jurisdiction that is very friendly to crypto, you don't have to answer. We don't have to care about what rules China makes or America makes. The innovation will move to these spots. If the big countries, the big economies crack down on crypto, sure, it could kick the can and push it back, delay innovation, and maybe a couple of years. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. All the smartest minds will move to other countries. We've seen this before. We've seen it time again. I really hope Australia takes a really pro-crypto stance. Otherwise, we will miss the boat, and the innovation will go to Asia and go to these other countries that have friendly crypto laws. So this is another trend we're seeing. So, Wall Street execs, hedge fund managers, why would they be leaving their jobs, their high-paying jobs? Everyone knows how much money washes around Wall Street, to join a company like Coinbase. A lot of people were sort of saying to me early on, why do you like Coinbase so much when there's other exchanges that may have lower fees and whatever? But I like to support good people, was one of the things I said, and I love Brian Armstrong. I love everything he's doing for this space. The other day he spoke about, people starting to earn Bitcoin for doing jobs with that partnership with earn.com, I think it was. More and more they look like they're up to something behind the scenes. They're going to continue to surprise us with good updates and announcements. Crypto is not dead. You've heard me say it so many times. Why the smartest, richest people in the world jumping ship and moving over to the blockchain space, to Coinbase, okay? This is a great trend. I hope we continue to see it. And what's going to be left behind at Wall Street are all the people that aren't open-minded, all the people that were closed-minded to the fact that blockchain technology, crypto, it's a revolution. Nobody wants to be first, but then nobody wants to be last. You've heard me say that plenty of times as well, guys. Just an update on the Blockchain tour. So we're going to be getting around Australia. This is the dates we've got so far. Obviously, I'll be doing one in my home state of Tasmania. We'll be going to Canberra some stage later in the year as well. Going to Darwin. Obviously, I want to visit as many cities in Australia as we can to talk about crypto. Real world use case of blockchain technology is going to be the theme of what I want to talk about. So just finally, before we talk about some price action, you guys know I'm good friends with the chart guys. We do our Trader Talk segment every week or two. But the other day, Dan did a video about lucid dreaming, and I reached out to him and said, meditation was something that I also got right into at uni 10 years ago, and it changed my life. And I did have a chance to do a bit while I was away on my honeymoon, and it's something that I do like doing to clear your mind and tie all my thoughts together. And I think something that people are liking from the channel is how do you digest all this news and break it down and translate it into easy to understand terms, guys. So that's what I'm very passionate about. Hopefully that's what you guys enjoy about the channel as well. And I don't try to compete. I know we've done a bit of a daily news recap today, but there's so many other good channels that do, the news and that sort of thing, guys. Please follow me on Twitter. I'll always try to tweet as much of what I think are the most relevant news articles each day. But there's plenty of good news channels out there. I want to use my channel for something different. Okay, I want to do fundamental analysis on coins that I think will be around for the next 5 years. I want to break things down into easy to understand terms. We're working on courses. Obviously, we've got that other premium service if anyone's interested. I don't like to promote that at all because we do hundreds of thousands of hours of free content. If you want that little bit extra, you can join our Crypto Academy. But hopefully you guys, you enjoy that. And Dan and I want to talk about meditation, lucid dreaming. I want to start to do segments in my pharmacy background on drugs, medical marijuana, all those sort of things, because I definitely think it's important to be a well-rounded person. It'll help your trading, it'll help your investing, it'll help your life. Okay, guys, being open-minded, thinking outside the box, all that sort of thing. So sorry for that rant. Let's dive into crypto. So last time we spoke, I won't go in any depth, but we were looking for this cycle to bottom here on the 17th and then a push higher, and we have got that. We're approaching this long-term log downtrend line that a lot of people are watching. We're only within a couple $100 now, so about the mid 8,000s. I'm going to talk a little bit, not so much about the price, where we're going. I'll save that for the weekly technical analysis. But some of these moves that we're seeing here, and I think the other day there was a perfect head and shoulders that played out to the downside, and it was a profitable trade, and a lot of people jumped on it. And then we had another one sort of set up here, and a lot of people were looking for this low to break and another waterfall down. And I think this was very early hours in US time where we're starting to see a bit of manipulation. So when people know, and a lot of shorts were starting to build. So we spoke the other day about the shorts and the ability to liquidate those and cause the big moves. I recommend you watch that video the other day because that played out perfectly after Dan and I chatted about it. But this has happened again where this was setting up, and a lot of people thought as soon as we lose this low, we're going to have a waterfall lower. And sure enough, we saw traders step in, and it's not tinfoil hat stuff when you say there's manipulation. It's just a group of traders that it's smart trading. If you see that there's a heap of people loading up on a short position, it's early hours in the US and those people have left those trades on. This is crypto. It's the Wild West, and they pile in. They take the market in the opposite direction. All those positions get liquidated, and sure enough, you saw all those shorts get liquidated, and the short positions go down as the price went up. And then again, just these big moves on volume. Just even looking at it visually, guys, it sticks out. So again, all I wanted to say was don't overtrade, don't leave positions on overnight. Don't put yourself in these positions where, look at this, the price starts here and finishes here. Don't be the guy that loses 10% of your capital on a margin trade because you fell victim to market manipulation. We know there's whales out there. We know there's trading groups out there. Anything can happen. So IOTA had that good news lately. So I just want to compare it to Bitcoin here. I'll just take that off log scale. So what we're noticing here is here's Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin bottomed out here and nearly got down to that price again. But this is a theme we're seeing with IOTA and a lot of other altcoins, where IOTA continued to drift lower. It actually made lower lows compared to here when Bitcoin bottomed. But now we're starting to see a real pickup in price. So IOTA, and I had these swing trades open that were massively in the red, and people saying, well, why did you keep these open? And my thinking was that anywhere along here, this is now up 85% since it bottomed. Now, anywhere along here, I was looking for a bottom, and yes, it dragged on, but when it goes, I had a feeling that the good coins were going to go hard, and they were going to go quickly. Now, this is the same with a Mesa Go. It gets down here again to sort of $8 or even lower, but now it's up. Let's again get that percentage out. So this was up, 130%, and I had a feeling that run was coming. I didn't want to miss out. My average price was in the mid-teens after I first entered these at around $17, and I think I got in a bit earlier. But I knew good things were coming. I've got these on as longer-term swing trades. Now, that's just me personally. I like IOTA and Mesa Go. I believe they're strong fundamentals, good trading coins, plenty of liquidity and good volume. I think if we have another leg up and if we have a good bull run, I've got some much higher targets. That's why I kept those trades on when they're in the red compared to day trading and scalping, guys. So just an interesting theme to see here. Look at these coins that are starting to outperform Bitcoin here. Walton Chain, BAT today. I'll talk about Verge for a little bit here as well. So I'll get rid of that one off the chart. So Verge, I was telling people to be very careful here. So we had a big run up. I actually think that the news, like it or hate it, it's been great marketing. Everyone's talking about Verge and the Pornhub partnership. Are a lot of people going to use it to pay for that? I don't know. The jury's still out, but just be careful. This is a coin that trades so much on hype and pump and dumps. It doesn't have a lot of volume, so you can push this price around a bit, different trading groups and whatever. Just be careful. You don't want to be on the wrong side of this. If you're new to the game, maybe you're seeing your friends, FOMO about Verge, and then it just drops, 50%, 70% after the announcement. So I'm not sure what lays ahead for Verge. Those privacy coins, as you always hear me say, PIVX, Monero, Zcash, they depend on their community. how big the community, how often they're going to use it. They're the sort of things that determine the long-term success of those privacy coins. That's probably it for today, guys. I've rambled on for long enough. Let's see if you guys have got any questions. But if you don't want to stick around for the Ask Me Anything, guys, that's all I've really got to talk about today. So I'll have a scroll through and just see if there's any questions coming in. Thanks for all the kind congratulations, guys. NASA adopting ETH today, looking to trial. Yep. I just think more and more people, the sentiment's changing. Dragon Chain is another solid project that I'd love to do some fundamentals on. The baton is just going to change between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. We know that Bitcoin deserves the majority of the attention. It's the largest cap coin. Then Ethereum has all its developments. And then Charlie Lee will post something, or Litecoin will have another partnership. And we just see traders love passing the baton, trading whichever one's got the most volume and has the best setups and the least overhead resistance. One will jump ahead, then the other one will take a turn, and all of a sudden Ethereum will jump out of nowhere. Just be aware of all that. Binance, I like Binance. I like the big token burn. It's a good exchange that no doubt will continue to do good things in the future. Again, we saw the price run up into the previous token burns, and then once everyone is aware of these things, Binance always runs up when they have a token burn. Sure enough, the third time it sells off hard because everyone's already bought in beforehand and priced that news in. So, buy the rumor, sell the news. You've always got to be aware of what everyone else is, as I said before, what's the consciousness? What's the market? What's everyone else thinking? Am I being a sheep, or am I doing what everyone else is doing, or am I in early? EOS event next week. Yeah, I'm going to be talking to Eosphere, the Australian guys that are trying to win an EOS block producer spot. I think EOS has got 21 or 25 main block producers. And again, that's one of the things that I'll be talking to them about. That trade-off between Bitcoin, where any single person can run a node and verify transactions, versus EOS that's going for really fast throughput, but that degree of centralization where there'll only be 21 block producers, and I think there's 100 backup block producers. They get voted for the community. So again, maybe that's not considered centralization. These things are all a trade-off, and this is what's so interesting. Different projects require different degrees of operating modes and to get that throughput. My thoughts on ICX, I've done a full fundamental analysis on that if you want to check that out. Quant Stamps Proof of Care. I did touch on that in that interview. I've done an interview with Richard, the CEO of Quant Stamp, where we did talk about proof of caring. It's another sort of similar to proof of stake protocol. Power Ledger, another great project. Working hard in the background. A lot of these projects don't like to have announcements while the market's down. Then once it's turned, all of a sudden, as we've seen this week, lots of good news comes out. Bitcoin Cash is having a good run at the moment. G-Trade into fiat. It depends what the market's doing. At the moment, if I think Bitcoin is down at a low price, I'll look to maybe accumulate and back into Bitcoin because I think that's going to go up. Whereas if the market's at highs, or I've made a really good trade I'm happy with, I don't want to lose those profits, I'll sit in USD. But I'm just can't wait to use Make or Die, the stable coin. Haven, an Australian company, are working on Nomans. Any coin that I can send to my hardware wallet and have a stable value without having to sit money on an exchange or money in a bank. And do you know what I mean? So we can keep it decentralized profits, but nice and safe. As we saw Ian Bellini get hacked, guys, regardless of your thoughts on Ian, how anyone that's a big name in the space cannot have their coins securely stored on a hardware wallet is a shock to me. So make sure you've got one of those hardware wallets. Keep your crypto safe. Hashgraph, I know they've got the Hedera trial, getting that out there in the community at the moment. It is, a patented project, and what makes Bitcoin so special, and what Ethereum and what people forget about, is the fact that these are decentralized. Anyone can work and build on them. So maybe people can start to work and build on Hashgraph. But in terms of it being a private, ledger, that doesn't really open it up for the world. So it might have some fantastic use cases. It might be really good at a few things, and they can sell that to the target audience. I'm not convinced that it's going to take over the world yet while it's so confined and siloed. Has Anne Boleyn proven he was hacked? These days there's some really good software that traces from address to address. And again, government's going to wise up to this. People that think Bitcoin's anonymous have already been caught out because it's not. It's a public ledger. So there's plenty of ways to trace transactions these days. And it's going to get better and better. Privacy coins will play their part as well. I'm going to do a video about how I set up those time cycles. That will take up a whole video for its own. Australian coins, there's so many startup projects that we're helping at the moment, guys. It's absolutely fantastic. Australian coins, so Horizon State, Haven, Kenya. There's lots of little coins. So Abra, the app, you do have your private key, and they have a private key as well. So it's a multi-sig wallet. So they can't take your coins, but technically you need the app to sign the other half of the transaction. Do we think we'll see a run up across the board before consensus? I don't know. News determines what happens in the immediate short term. In the really long term, I think there's so many good things on the horizon. Individual good projects will outperform. So many scams starting to come out, guys. Don't be surprised if we see more and more projects get left behind. Modem's a good coin I covered. Blockgrain's a fantastic Australian project that's just in their ICO. CoinSpot as an exchange. So CoinSpot have had high fees. They reduced their fees. They listened to what people want because their trading volumes were dropping off. If you're getting started and you've got friends that are getting started, Coinbase is a pretty easy way to link a bank account, and they've got a number of coins on there, far more than any other Australian exchange. And I know there's new Australian exchanges coming out, a couple actually that I know of. So no doubt the space will get more competitive, and that is only good. Well, guys, I'm probably going to wrap up there. Let's see if we can get through this downtrend line. If we break that, I think you're going to see a lot of money come into this space. As I've said a number of times, so many traders and swing traders, long-term traders are patient, and they want to know we're not in a downtrend. This could be a very substantial move. Let's see how far we've got to run on the daily RSI if we break this long-term downtrend. If we get good bull volume, here's the next moving average. Maybe it gets up towards that 9.7. Who knows? But I'll be watching this very closely. Maybe we chop around. We've seen a lot of action in the past on Friday nights Australian time or Friday market open US time. So maybe this is all setting up for the test of that long-term log downtrend line tomorrow night. So let's see what happens then, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I will talk to you again soon. Cheers.